So, sitting here bored waiting on someone, and well, I gotta just kill some time, about an hour, so figured I'd jump on here and just see what happens. I'm gonna try to do more live stream stuff. What's this say? What's that say? All hail Biden. That's solid. I'm just sitting here, I got about an hour to kill, so I figured, hey, screw it, I'll jump on here and just kind of see what happens. Random questions that you guys got, or if I can ask you some questions of what you guys would like to see going forward. I was sitting here kind of working on the new 2-day class, and kind of trying to nail down just every last little detail. Been in my spare time just going over shit here and there, trying to really nail it down, so I know I don't really have anything left to do, which people think that it's easy, but man, it's actually pretty difficult. I mean, there's a lot to do to make it really jam-packed full of stuff. So I'm just sitting here dicking around with that, finishing up some last final touches, thinking about different things to add in. And then if you guys got any questions, random stuff, got one little question about when to deactivate a safety when drawing a 1911 type pistol, just a second ago. So closer to your shirt. Oh yeah, I remember you saying something about that. I never answered you. Yeah, so in my perfect start position, like perfect, everything's good, like if I'm gonna start a drill where I'm really trying to get down or whatever, I'm gonna leave that support hand just a tiny bit, and then my default position, if I was going to fight somebody in the street, I would go southpaw. Even though I'm right-handed, I can do some work. I spent a lot of time working southpaw because I didn't have a left arm for a while, needed shoulder surgery and shit for a couple of years, and put it off when I was younger. So I started working southpaw, and then I ended up getting the surgery and stuff, but going back to orthodox a little bit. But so it kind of helps. And then if you got one hand slightly closer to the garment, and you fire both hands down to get on that pistol super quick, your one hand being a tiny bit closer will beat the other, and then you can come in super fast right behind it and not have to worry about it. Helps out just a little bit. So iron sight recommendation, I love those Vogel sights. At the same okay, yeah, if it's 4 Glocks, and I think M&Ps now, man, those Vogel sights are cool. They are a bit on the rear sight is a bit on the sharp side. So for carry, you bend over and stuff, if you're carrying appendix, the rear sight is a little bit on the sharp side. It'd be kind of nice if they just rounded the edges just a little bit more, because they are kind of a competition sight. And Vogel doesn't really give too much of a shit about anything else. So for just a pure awesome package sight-wise, those are cool. And then I'll tell you what's awesome. I saw Trijicon, and I just think it's cool. Trigicon's, they got these fiber optic night sights. So they have a fiber optic regular old sight, but you'll see the very front, where the front of the pistol would be, kind of the back of the rear sight, has a little channel, little spot in it that's totally covered up, whereas most fiber optic sights is kind of like this, and the fiber's sitting there in between, and it's open so light can get in. They have a tritium vial in the ass end right here, so it lights up the fiber even at night. But one thing that's cool that they did, which is a new concept, is a fiber optic retention device. So each end has some kind of little cool retention thing. So it's not the whole lighter, you know, on both ends and melting. It's pretty slick little setup. And then the rear sight is blacked out, but has two little tiny night sight modules, tritium, you know, thingies in there. And I thought, man, that's actually a pretty good idea just on a couple fronts. I don't really give a shit about night sights when you got a light. Your sights are backlit and they look like they're all blacked out anyway, so it doesn't matter. But as far as you know, that just seemed like a really cool idea. But their sights cost way more than they should, like 150 bucks for Trigicon fiber optic or night sights or whatever, those XDR sights or whatever they are. And that's just, to me, I'm gonna buy a $75 set of T or the Vogel sights, or a $40 set of Boston Precision fibers for you know, screw $150 for a damn pair of iron sights. I'm gonna buy a Holosun, right? So yeah, hit the like button. I'm gonna start demanding shit. Better subscribe and like and rub my nuts and you know, start demanding. But I'll tell you one thing, I'm going to start pushing more content. So whether you fucking watch it or not, I'm gonna shove it down your throat. So I've got some time here, got some things coming up, going to Texas, all this stuff's kind of coming up here. So there's gonna be a lot of content coming out. Looking like February is the most free month that I have, so I wanted to try to get that Texas class in February, but it might end up being like first week of March. But either way, in a few weeks, we're headed to the great state of Texas. So the private class that I'm doing, the main class, the reason I'm going there is in Albany. So central, I think, pretty central. So that's kind of cool because Texas, big ass state, lots of people in Texas. So if I'm in the center of it and we get a class mapped out for somewhere else, or a couple private lessons or whatever, or we can get some people to culminate in an area, we can get some other classes and stuff going on, because I really want to go down there and make a little tour of it and kind of get some shit done and meet some people and do it while I've got some time, because this year's probably going to be pretty busy once springtime. You know, we go from April till Christmas is basically wide open, and then from Christmas till April, kind of just chilling, doing whatever, kind of scraping by. We even get laid off for a month, take a month off. So what I'll do is just say, you know, I'm out of here for a couple weeks, and then I can get partial unemployment, which is full unemployment. It's about 500 bucks a week, and you don't like have to jump through all the hoops and look for a job and shit. You know, you've got a return to work date and stuff, so it's super freaking easy, and it's pretty handy. So then that frees me up to do basically whatever the hell I want. Thoughts on Glock Gadget Tau development? I think they're cool. I don't use them. Yeah, I've seen them and I think they're awesome. To me, I just haven't ever felt the need to pull the trigger and buy it. I don't know. But if that's something that you think is a good thing, I would never tell anybody not to buy one, or that they're bad, because I've never heard of any malfunctions happening or anything like that because of those things, and they seem to be well executed on that side of the house. So for the most part, I think they're pretty damn cool. Let's see here. Going to Bill Blowers, TAC Pistol in May. That'll be a cool class, I'm sure. Bill Blowers is one of those guys that very, very good shooter and tactical guy. So he's not full of shit, and he seems to really get to the point and not dick around. So Bill Blowers is definitely somebody I'd take a class from. Do you watch the Yankee Marshal? Sometimes. I know a lot of people hate that guy, but I mean, he's 50-50. He's 50% full of shit and 50% spot on. Sometimes, especially when he's talking shit about how influencers and all these people act, sometimes he's freaking spot on. And then people just don't like to hear it because, you know, nut rider stuff. But sometimes I'm like, yeah, well, he's kind of a douchey guy, but damn, sometimes he's direct, right on the money. So, other times I wish he would shut the hell up, right? Because he has a fairly good sized following, and sometimes he puts out just utter, you know, nonsense, futtery kind of stuff, and it's on the actual application of pistols, or what's good and what's bad, and what beginners should do and what they shouldn't. So sometimes I just want him to shut the hell up, and then others I'm like, well, that's pretty spot on. So I avoid any of his videos that are I'm subscribed to his channel. I avoid any of his videos about anything practical and kind of watch the ones that are just kind of talking shit, you know. I like that stuff a little bit. I do think he kind of goes hard in the paint sometimes, where it's like, he might be just trying to get some views and stuff. But let's see here. Thoughts on AKs. Just picked up East German from Definitive Arms. I know Definitive Arms makes good AK stuff, and they build AKs, don't they? Is any Russian, Chinese? Yeah, I'm no expert. No expert on AKs. I like them. I can shoot them, manipulate them, kind of understand the concepts there, and all that. But as far as AKs, AK parts, what makes a good AK, what doesn't, like I got no idea. You're speaking Chinese to me. So I'm an AR guy. Not that, like I said, shooting AKs and running the shit out of them and manipulating mechanics and all that stuff, I'm down with that, and I teach that right alongside ARs in any carbine work that I do with people. If somebody takes a private class and wants to do carbine, they're welcome to bring pistol or anything, because it's all basically the same stuff, only with a couple of little things. And I've consumed enough of the material and trained with some people who were slick with AKs and you know, hung out side by side with them enough to know how to do some of the shit better. And then at the end of the day, it's all just about shooting better. So, but as far as AK experts, I don't know. One guy that I really like, that I've learned a lot about AKs on, is that it's called Clayco, I think. Clayco 47, I'm pretty sure, and he seems to really know all of that AK stuff for sure. Yankee was pushing the 380 EZ yesterday. Okay, yeah, that's a perfect example of gun in my hand, collector stuff, shoots 1,000 rounds a year, or going out to the range and plinking, bang, 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 right? And then thinking, oh, this pistol's sweet. Perfect example. Perfect example. And those little EZ pistols are a sweet little pistol in form, but actual function, they take a back seat. And people just don't understand that. That's one reason why I hate XDs with a passion. Not the shooting characteristics of them necessarily, or the ergonomics, but the freaking grip safety is just like putting lipstick on a freaking pig. Like, it doesn't do anything. It's useless, and it's a huge detriment. So those EZs, I've had a few people that like them and want them, and I've tried to talk them out of them, and just been like, if you want a 380 for your old lady, find a different 380, or have a gunsmith pin that freaking thing shut. It's got a manual safety on it. It just don't need it. Like, have a gunsmith or send it to a company that does it and have them pin that thing like pinning 1911s. For me, I have to have a certain style of backstrap or grip safety on 1911s. So I think Wilson makes one that has a bigger bump that, you know, you can't really grip the pistol in any way without hitting that. And then also finely tuned 1911s, there's an engagement there to where you really want that to be like, okay, this much free play, and then boom, it releases totally. And then shitty 1911 sometimes they'll have a hard engagement surface there where the you know, I'm not a 1911 expert, but I know that's a big deal in 1911s, is how well that those two surfaces are blended together, and when the grip safety is depressed, it releases completely so that the gun works right, and you're not in that situation where you're, because I grip, instead of, you know, lining up the gun with my forearm whole thing, I grip around the gun slightly so I can get a little bit better right angle trigger geometry and a little bit of a better grip, and it opens up the back strap a little bit for my left hand more. So 1911s have always been an issue unless they have a good bump there and a finely fitted grip safety. So grip safeties are junk. And you're spot on about that video, like perfectly. I've almost did this, like I said, I've almost done that video, and I got so many little questions and video ideas. I could throw out a video every day, like a couple minute, 2 minute, 3 minute video about one little topic, but I just don't. One, whether it's I'm lazy or I've got too much going on or whatever, or just plain forget about it. Reason I asked about Yankee Marshall, I noticed other YouTubes have dodged your video responses. Always Yankee Marshall always spoiling for a fight. Be fun to watch it. Yeah, he is a decent debater. Okay, and if you notice, Yankee's always got these little escape routes that he gives himself. So I like debate, and I you know, I was a total fuckhead in high school, didn't care about anything, but I was on the debate team. I did just enough to be able to play sports, and I didn't care about anything, but I liked debate, and I liked the science of it, or the skills that you pick up in it. And if you watch Yankee's videos, he always makes these little disclaimers so that he can come back to that later when someone says, yeah, you're full of shit. And then he always has this little backdoor escape route on his more, I guess, more controversial stuff. He's always got a little escape route there. And people who are good at debate and understand the fundamentals of debate, you see those little escape routes, and then you get to say, hey, I see what you're doing there, guy, and I don't like it. All right? So then you can come back to that and say, yeah, you gave yourself a little out there, but what you're really saying is this nonsense. And if you put that little disclaimer out there in the open for everybody else to see, you immediately make them look like a dumbass. If your arguments are good subsequently, obviously, but it... and like I said, 50%, I'm like, he's spot on, and 50% he's dead wrong. Now, obviously, he's got some weird politics and different things, and sometimes I wonder what his experience is to bring him to some of these conclusions. Not that I disagree with everything, but some of it's just like, have you ever been in an inner city or learned how people work, or like, you know, thinking about getting an LTT, do you still recommend? Yeah, of course. Like, that thing is, everything I said in my review was absolutely spot on. I love that thing. It's a badass pistol. From, you know, up, down, all around. It's awesome. I just didn't like the way they handled my broken plate, and I'm sure if they already haven't, they are going to have a version 2 plate with steel insert posts. So I would recommend the pistol 5 out of 5 times. You know, I give it a 10 on the scale as far as just the pistol, the whole thing. But you know, I just didn't like what they did. And then I haven't been home for weeks, so I haven't even gotten the chance. I threw that thing in the safe, started running my Glock again, and then I haven't even been home in weeks. So I said, screw it, I'm not worried about it. Plus, I think I'm gonna just run my Glock. DC Precision's gonna do me up a Glock, and I'm gonna run it next year fully and just not worry about trying to switch platforms or anything. Go back to that, and do this year. Trying to go to nationals and everything, so I'm just going to stay laser focused where I'm at. And then I got some plans for the LTT though. I'm going to get it ported. So a guy I know on Instagram is doing porting for him, and all you got to do is send your barrel to him. It's already an open slide. Get that thing ported, SRO on it obviously, magwell, like make it a sick open gun X300, and then run it in local matches and stuff from concealment, open minor from concealment, and just make it a cool blast, something to take to classes or whatever, you know, just make it a badass pistol all the way around. That's my goal, that's my thing, you know, that I'm going to do with it now. Because I'm not going to shoot it in USPSA and give Langdon a bunch of freaking publicity. Not that I'm going to, you know, give them much publicity, but if you look, I've given them 15,000 or so views of glowing responses and glowing videos about their guns, and I've had tons of people hit me up and be like, you know, your video made me pull the trigger, so I know I at least sold a couple of them for them, and they couldn't sell me or give me a $40 freaking plate or $50 plate, however much it costs. And even though it broke, like, I was just like, my mind was blown when they told me, yeah, we'd be happy to sell you one. I'm like, so when your Vortex scope breaks and you call Vortex, yeah, we'd be happy to sell you another one. We'll even give you a discount. That's not how customer service works. Like, it just baffled me. It blows my mind. Tell me if I'm an asshole for thinking that. But it's the same thing, and their excuse was they're a small company. I don't get that. Oh, we're a small company, we can't afford to just give parts away. I'm like, you're not giving me parts. You're replacing parts. My front sight freaking fell off the gun too, but I didn't even get to that. I didn't even get to tell them about that. Like, have you ever heard something so dumb? Alright. Yankee Marshall is a psychologist and a decent wordsmith. Not easy to win against. You do. Yeah, he's always got a little out. You know, and the guy is obviously intelligent. So if you are intelligent and you've practiced doing this certain type of debate with no one really, you get good at it eventually, and he knows exactly how to kind of say anything he wants with no real accountability. And that's not me, you know, trying to trash the guy. It's just, that's what he does. It's pretty easy to see once you kind of pick up on the trends, I guess. So I think I'm going with the M&P and not the X5. Interesting. The M&Ps are awesome. I really love M&Ps. If I didn't have 20 Glock magazines and, you know, all the little things that go along with having Glocks and just having a couple of them and all that stuff. If I didn't have that, or if I was going to switch pistols or switch families of pistols, it'd be hard for me not to choose M&Ps. Their 5-inch M&P 2.0 5-inch is just a sweet shooting unit. And their triggers, you put an Apex trigger in them, makes them pretty silly. I mean, M&Ps are freaking awesome. So I don't think that's a bad move whatsoever. Now the Legions and the X5s, and what's cool I think about the X5s is you can get a Legion and then buy one of those maybe Wilson Combat grip frames, and then you've got a lightweight 5-inch gun for training classes or for more tactical needs, or it could sit on the, I guess you could carry it, but I mean, it's just kind of cool that you got some options. It's so easy to change it. And then you got this super heavy unit for USPSA or 3-gun or something like that. And I'll tell you what's a funny story, if you guys follow IDPA at all. Brownell slides for Glocks. I don't have any experience with them myself. I know Brownell's is a solid company, you know, so I wouldn't hesitate to buy shit from them, because if it does in fact break, they're probably going to hook you up and get you fixed up. Now, I'd probably tolerance stacking and little issues like that kind of happens with those slides that are mass produced that aren't real Glock slides. So I might not use that for a carry gun, probably just keep same old. But either way though, actually, let me rephrase that. I would probably just put a bunch of rounds through it before I trust it, you know. If it shoots 1,000 rounds without any trouble, then I would trust it and I'd run her. But what does this say here? Oh, okay. Good morning from Vegas. Thank you, dude. I know, I think I'm subscribed to your channel, if you're the same channel. I thought you were from California. Vegas is a little better than California. So, the IDPA thing, there was a local IDPA match, let some guys run, or let one guy at least run AIWB, appendix, which IDPA talks about, you know, using gear that you would use. That's their whole motto, and oh my god, it's so funny. You gotta look up some of the nonsense that they put out about this. They freaked out because a local club let somebody use appendix gear. And I understand, you know, but that's why you have rules at matches, just like USPSA, okay? Show clear, hammer down, holster, don't touch your freaking gun until I tell you to, blah, blah, blah. Safe areas, all these different things. That's why they're there, to negate liability. And people don't shoot themselves while drawing. The reholster is definitely a thing, but that's why you put all those rules together. So IDPA finds out that this local club let this dude run appendix, which is carry gear in 2020. I mean, come on. It's probably 70-30 now, appendix versus strong side. So IDPA headquarters and chief executive, whatever, flips out and like talking about firing the match director, or cutting, you know, cutting ties with the match director and range officers, and all of them lose their credentials as being a certified range officers. It's wild. I'm like, okay, that's some fuddery for sure. But the email or statement that this guy put out is just insane. It says in there, first of all, he says IDPA will never allow appendix. It's dangerous, all nonsense, but you know, same old stuff people been talking about for 10 years now. And then at the bottom of it, it says IDPA is designed, and the rules are designed so people use what they actually carry on a daily basis. And that is not appendix carry. That is not AIWB. And it's like, I guess if you're living on Jupiter, that's not how things work, but what are you talking about? What are you, 1100 years old, and you don't know that the rest of the world has kind of almost unanimously moved to appendix? Like, how in the hell could someone that runs a major shooting organization say some things that are that dumb? But hey, no one ever said IDPA wasn't dumb as shit. So, and I don't mind IDPA. A lot of people talk about different rules and this and that. I'm like, hey, it's just a gun game. Whatever the rules are, the rules are. Am I going in and out here? I'm seeing some weirdness. Okay. Oh. Oops. Okay. Finally convinced my dad to buy an AR for home defense and teaching him when I finish building it. Do you teach carbines much differently than pistols, or do you cover it differently? No, I teach it all basically the same stuff, you know, fundamentals of shooting, shooting and tasking, getting getting the thing running, keeping it running, and shooting it really, really well. And then you can figure out kind of how to apply that to your regular stuff. I teach carbine classes, mostly privates, but I don't have a dedicated carbine like 2-day course or anything like that, because the market's just not there for me. But I do have a carbine class for a 1-day class, and I teach it all the exact same. It's all the same stuff. Now in the carbine stuff, I do get into a little bit more weird positional shooting, because a carbine is so much of a force multiplier if you were ever to use it in a martial context, that positional shooting is like such a big deal, right? Being able to get into weird positions, get in and out of weird positions, and still do work. That's one of the big things that I go for, and try to get people thinking outside the box. And then also try to get people to think about, try to put themselves in the mindset of a fight. So a lot of carbine classes and stuff, they teach people certain techniques. They're all based around range shit. And I really try to get it through to your head, like, okay, if this thing happens, it's a big deal at a class on a range. If that happened in real life, is not a big deal at all. So, you know, just as simple as if I had to shoot through my window or something, or if I had to shoot over the hood of my vehicle or under my vehicle, and I forgot about my height over bore a little bit and shot a hole in my hood while I'm in a damn gunfight with AR-15. It's like, that's a huge deal on the range, and everybody talks about all this technique stuff around. It's like, son, I'm in a gunfight. I don't give a shit about all that. I'm getting down. I got to do work. And if I shoot my rearview mirror off trying to shoot out my cars, I'm like, who cares? So getting that into people's heads in carbine classes is big. And the same goes for pistol, but that's the only real tactical shit that I get into at all, is just trying to get people to think, hey, this thing's going to be weird, and if you're actually in a fight using this pistol or rifle, it's, you know, let go of kind of the range stuff. Careful showing the airsoft, and banned from posting to YouTube till April 18th. Damn. Showing the airsoft pistols, huh? Yeah, I got an airsoft pistol on order. I got to shoot one and work with a kid. Had a private class, and he was an airsofter, so I told him to bring some stuff. and we played with a few things. I ended up making a little video and lost it. So, well, didn't lose it all, but the sound kept going in and out. I don't know what happened, but almost like when you get a text message or you get a phone call while you're talking sometimes, or doing something like this, like the sound would just cut completely out for 30 seconds and then come back. So kind of ruined it. But he showed me the ropes on the airsoft stuff, kind of told me what's good, what to look out for, what to do. And I ordered a WE Glock 17 Gen 5 MOS, so same exact pistol I'm using, and then you can buy little red dots and put on them. So little fake RMRs. Like, I'm down. I can't wait to play with it. So I'm gonna really be introducing that, and we'll start to talk about how well it actually works to implement that in dry practice, and just add some fun to dry practice too. So, and then you know, the weight, there's definitely a weight difference, but they have steel slides or metal slides, aluminum probably, but they are hefty, but they don't weigh quite the same. And then obviously a fully loaded magazine full of ammo is going to make a huge difference in weight. So I was thinking about looking at it and seeing if you could add a little bit of tungsten putty or something, and add a little bit of weight to it, make it more realistic. Just it'll be a fun experiment to play with all that stuff coming up. But the company that I ordered it from is from the UK, or actually the one I can't remember which one I did. Either the UK or the Philippines, and it'll probably take like a month to freaking ship it. It was like 35 bucks just to ship the damn thing regular. All right, but it was only $100. So one funny thing, I'll get to these questions here in a second, guys, but one funny thing is I was trying to watch airsoft reviews and shit, and boy, oh boy, that's some funny stuff. So one funny thing is they kept saying it's just like the real steel. And I'm like, oh man. So airsofters, the difference between $100 Glock airsoft pistol and a $150 one is that this one has like the real markings on it, and this one looks like the real steel more, and this one has a removable orange tip and stuff like that, so that they can act like they're shooting real guns, or it looks right, or it's got the right markings. And I guess there's something to like the cloning thing in airsoft, or maybe there's some parallels there. But it's just kind of funny to watch the reviews, and then the reviews were freaking terrible. Basically, all they were unboxings. Like, here's the gun, here's the markings, here's how much it looks like the real steel. And I'm like, it's an airsoft gun. Whip that sumbitch out and shoot it. Like, I want to see how it works and how it reciprocates, and like, tell me about the actual the workings of it. Tell me why this one is better than that one. Tell me why. Maybe I just don't know the good channels, obviously, but it was terrible. Like, I didn't learn anything. And then finally that kid hit me up for training, and I was like, he said something about airsoft. I'm like, dude, bring me some airsoft guns and shit, and we'll play with it. Back here. Yeah, so I'll definitely be careful. I know one of my streams got shut down. The last one I did, actually, I was on for about 10 minutes. And I think I showed the old airsoft unit one time, and it shut me off. So didn't get any warning or strike or anything. They just said, this is why we took it off. So tell me if this is useless info. I heard, when starting off with a handgun red dot, think of the RMR as a large rear ghost ring, and put the front post the bottom center for dot acquisition. All right, so one, that's not totally useless information, because that concept really works if your dot was to go out. If you were to present the gun with no dot, then you can absolutely think about using that window as a giant ghost ring. And one reason why I run a front sight and no rear sight is I can use that RMR, SRO, Holosun, whatever, as a ghost ring, and line up pretty damn precisely with just a front sight, and then I don't have any rear sight obstructing any of my glass, because I want as clear a picture and as simple a picture. I don't want it to be cluttered and shit going on. That's why when I see people with irons that are night sights or fibers or something, and it's like, I want one red dot to look at. I don't want two yellow dots and a red dot and an orange dot. Like, I want this to be super simple. Now, on the thing of dot acquisition, absolutely do not do any tricks or any bullshit, any of those kind of things. Don't look for the irons and then the dot. Don't do any of that. I would suggest taking irons and everything off the pistol completely until you can find your dot on presentation and get your index tuned in completely, right? So once you, because you don't want to be looking for something and then find the dot, or looking for something to help you find the dot. One reason why I think that new ACSS Holosun thing, I saw James Yeager talking about it, and I just kind of thought, yeah, I don't like the idea of it. I don't hate the idea of that thing, just because I guess it could help a little bit in some situations, but red dots are taught so badly that I don't like the idea of that. And then I've heard that Dimitri guy say things that show me that he has no understanding of pistol red dots, but he's making them, and he's making them to band-aid crutches, you know, to put band-aids on other issues, and he's designing the things when he has no real understanding of the application and the use and the perfection, and utilizing a pistol red dot for what it really is, and the whole learning experience of it, and how to do it and how to teach it and learn it. He just has no clue on that, based on several comments, several things I've been shown that he said, and then to start designing things, I just hate the idea of that. So I don't want you to do anything but work on finding that dot 100% organically, just you and the dot. If you think about it, if you can line up iron sights, your red dot should be right above it. So you shouldn't be looking for sights and then look for the red dot. Like, everything should come in, dot, nothing, dot. So there is certain ways at first to start with a little bit of a hack. Is you can, what Scott teaches is 12 to 6 presentation. So many people present the gun and then have to tilt it down to find their dot, because they're actually aimed, you know, up too high. Okay, because they're used to seeing those sights come up on plane and be able to drop the front sight down into the rear notch. So a lot of people have the pistol in too much of an upward cant, and then they find their dot, and usually it goes wiggle and find it. But most of the time the problem is this. So 12 to 6 kind of presentation will help you. So present the pistol out, go a little high, and as you reach the last little bit of your extension, kind of start to roll it down, you'll see the dot just drop in. Now as you get better, personally I use a float technique. So what I want to do is come out, and more about chin level, I'm getting my index and my grip pimped out and fixed up, and everything is, I'm building that grip perfect. And then at the last second, once I get the gun perfectly on plane, and just by feel and grip and natural body alignment, index, all these things, then I just let it go, and the whole thing floats up into my vision. And doing it like that has allowed me to you know, uncork some more speed, so I don't have to go all the way out then dip at the last second. I can kind of float the whole thing, shoot it out there, and then let it float up that last little bit, kind of a 90-10 presentation. And either way, both of them, 6, half dozen, like, either way, coming to 12 to 6 or doing the kind of float thing where you get it lined up on plane and then let it float up into your eye line. Both those are going to be pretty awesome. Whatever one works for you, but that's what I would do, and I would not try to look for a physical thing and then find the dot in relation to that thing. That's training your brain the wrong way. Next thing you know, that's going to lead to scars. So we don't want that. It's more difficult to do it my way, but that is the thing that's going to make you a better dot shooter down the road. So if you put in the little bit of extra effort at the beginning to learn so-called correctly, in my opinion, it's probably wrong, but you know, that's my opinion from just teaching dots and doing the dot thing for a long time. Kind of what I was thinking too. Jedi says the body works the way it works, and whether it's carbine or pistol. So perfect timing on that comment, actually, because you know, Scott talks about the body and the concept of X's, right? Your body works like an X, and something that I talk about with people when trying to build better presentation skills, meaning getting the pistol from here to here and building your natural index and top triangle, he talks about the X. So this is one thing that I take from him and talk about. Okay, if you just simply like throw both your hands out, they kind of want to go, the most natural path possible is for both hands to almost meet in the middle, right? It seems like you got to put more effort into going straight out like this than right here. And we do everything, maybe it's just a natural thing that's come over time, that we do everything right here, and everything we center it up. And there's a lot of parallels there that you can draw when you're doing your presentation. Both hands are basically just trying to cross each other, but they hit and go straight out in front of you. And that's one of those things. Obviously, I'm not explaining it the way that I would build it up and work it into my way of teaching presentation, but that's one of those things. You think about both your hands kind of coming together, they have to, and then it's a straight presentation from there, centered up. And then if you think this will help you in everything pistol wise, if you move your body and think about all of your mechanics and movements as symmetrical as possible, it will absolutely help you. We do not want any asymmetrical movements, right? So I don't want to do something really crazy with one half of my body versus the other. I kind of want to do things nice and symmetrical as much as possible. So a little video that I just put out kind of talks about that, whereas coming out of AIWB, a couple different things where, you know, if you shrug your shoulder way up asymmetrically like this, it moves your head around. But if you kind of shrug both shoulders, who cares? No big deal. Symmetrical movements kind of you know, you'll start to see the gains from just having that in your head a little bit and trying to make your movements as symmetrical as you can. So Glock sells a BB gun, same weight and size. The BB gun is like the real gun. I would highly doubt it's the same weight and size, because the reason airsoft pistols are light is because the slide has to be light to get enough energy from a CO2, and I'm sure that the BB gun's probably the same exact way. Now, I felt just at a sporting goods store, I was playing with a Beretta airsoft pistol, but it wasn't a reciprocating slide, and it was just a wee little magazine that went in, so it wasn't nearly like the one I ordered. Didn't have real magazines that looked just like a a real steel Glock magazine. So it was just a little bit more generic, but it was heavy, like heavy as a real pistol. It might have been heavier than a real Beretta. Like it was super fat and heavy. So it's hard to say whether it's the same size and weight, but I doubt it. It's probably lighter. That one, because of the slide not reciprocating, it had a steel slide on it, so it made it just as heavy as the real gun, is what I'm thinking. And it had a metal aluminum frame. Like, so I thought about buying the damn thing. It was only $50 couple dollars, and I'm like, buy this sumbitch. But then I thought, I'm not even gonna waste it. Try to stay away from that peep sight thing for dot acquisition, but keeping that kind of peep sight mentality in your head for when a dot goes down, or any potential real problems, or even super fast up close shooting. People really get wrapped around the axle on finding their dot. Well, that's why we build grip to a super repeatable level, and that's why we build our index to a super repeatable level. I can turn my dot off and shred at 3.5, starting to get a little crazy at 7, but at 3 to 5 yards, turn the dot off, draw as fast as I possibly can, put the A zone in the window, put the window between my eyeball and the A zone, and rip the trigger as fast as I can. Do build drills all day long and never miss a shot, simply using the window itself. Now, that's because of a really repeatable grip and a really repeatable index. But for everyone else, okay, maybe you pull some C's and D's, but if it's a human running at you with a butcher knife and you just go, hey, and put that guy in the window at 3 to 5 yards, probably out to 7 even, really, and whack the trigger, you're probably going to hit him. And you're probably going to hit him in the body, right? Aim for the damn torso, put him in the window, and slam him. What's funny is a lot of people say red dots, finding the dot and all this stuff's going to hurt you, and they're not as fast up close. But then same people will say, oh, you don't even really need your sights up close. And it's like, well, which one is it? Do I not need my sights, or do I need to find my dot to shoot something at 3 yards? I agree on both fronts a little bit, but I do believe in index and natural body alignment index instead of so then at that point you're more predictively shooting and not reactively shooting. So I'm predicting that I'm going to see what I need to see, meaning I'm predicting that once I build this index, my dot's going to be there. Not that I need to go dot press like I would on a harder shot. I just know the dot's going to be there. I'm predicting that it's going to be there, and I don't even have to wait to see it to pull the trigger. Now I do see it just because my eyeballs and my brain is faster than anything I can do physically, but it's one of those things. We could talk for an hour about just that whole thing of seeing sights predictively versus reactionary, and going back and forth and kind of going into that entire can of worms there. But yeah, work on grip and index until it's dialed, and then shooting will forever be easy to be proficient, right? Not a good question, but you've talked about elbow and wrist position, shooting, strong hand only, weak hand only. I've used it to great success. So you've talked about elbow and wrist position. Not a great, oh, not, okay. I thought it said not a great question. I'm like, there ain't no question there. Okay, not a question. Okay, that makes sense. Uh, so, yeah. I like the way that I do it. I've found success in that, with the keeping the vertical axis on the gun, not doing the cant thing, and then also kind of spiraling the elbow down to get it straight underneath the gun a little bit. I don't worry about that too much, but that, along with the vertical presentation, I like that just simply because we're used to seeing the gun vertical. Why all of a sudden, when I take my biggest helper in the world away, do I want to change the presentation to a cant that I'm so used to looking at a gun this way? I'm so used to tracking sights this way, right? Why would I want to, when I'm at my worst, when I take this hand completely away, why would I want to turn it over? That's just my thoughts. And then the wrist, right? Making the goose head. So this will come into play with reloads and stuff, but kind of feeling that, and then you kind of feel this muscle down through here, and then extending that out and feeling what that's like, and being able to lock the individual wrist without having to squeeze like a maniac. Like, all those things make strong hand, weak hand shooting super doable. For me, also too, just philosophically on strong hand, weak hand shooting, left hand for me, weak hand, all accuracy. I don't try to control the gun that much because I can't. And if I try to clamp down on the gun, I obviously try to stiffen my wrist and lock my wrist as much as I possibly can. But if I try with my weak hand, because it's dumber, if I try to squeeze hard, I will sympathetically grip and I will move that freaking gun around. So I relax as much as I can without the gun flying all around, and I just think accuracy. Prep and trigger, accuracy. Prep and trigger, accuracy. And then with the strong hand, I want to be able to shoot damn near as good strong hand only as freestyle. So I just think our strong hand is smart enough to use that mind muscle connection and be able to do the work and actually get something out of it. So I want to be able to shred probably within 20% of my freestyle strong hand only. So if you just think about a build drill, let's say from just from gear, to make it easy, from gear, if I'm doing a 1.6 drill average, I would want to do about a 1.8, well, no, I'd want to be sub 2. That'd be within 20%. So that's probably where I'd want to be. Strong hand only is just at that sub 2 or 2 second mark, and that'd be with any kind of drill or work with the pistola. But yeah, there's a lot of little things with strong hand, weak hand that'll make you better, or things to play with and try. Some people make the canted method work really well. Now, that's one of those arguments about the canted thing being more natural. And then one thing that's funny is people say that this is how you punch. It's like, well, it's not how you're supposed to punch. You either go palm facing or palm down. And there's arguments why it should always be palm down. I throw hooks and stuff palm facing in sometimes, depending on what I'm throwing, but this is never really how you punch. You don't punch this way. You turn the wrists over and do certain things for certain reasons, but you don't ever really punch with a 45. Just because your hand naturally wants to go that way. What do we do that's natural? You see people all the time pick up a gun in a gun store and say, just say, pick up that thing and hold it the way it's most natural. And their grip is just atrocious. It's like, that ain't gonna work. So everything we do is about technique, not what feels natural. So I've just never liked that whole argument. And then just the punching thing is just kind of funny. that some people use that analogy, but I don't know. So, you guys got any more questions here before we wrap this thing up? Definitely gonna do more live streams. I enjoy doing it. It's easy. It gets a lot of little things done and a lot of topics talked about, and gets more information out there that I wouldn't make a dedicated video for. The one question, I forgot about this at the very beginning, I said somebody just asked about when to disengage the safety on a 1911 or just any manual safety pistol on the draw. And some people will say as soon as you kind of put your strong hand on the gun, like as soon as you're drawing it up. And I don't like that at all. It's just a click. So it's not like you're doing some kind of thing that it takes this much time or room to do. So for me, I disengage it as soon as two hands hit, right? So as soon as my two hands, my left hand touches gun, I can then click, prep, bang. Super simple. To take it off before the two hands meet is a little bit of added danger. I mean, there's just no real reason to do it. Not that I guess it would be any more dangerous than a striker fire pistol or something, but I guess Glock, you got to put your finger on the trigger the right way. It's funny that SIG and all these companies are making striker fired guns with no trigger safety, no nothing. No safety whatsoever. The only safety they have is a drop safety internally, which is kind of crazy. You know, the little dingus on a Glock trigger, it ain't much, but let's say somebody inexperienced was trying to draw, and when they went to marry both hands together, one of their fingers or their thumb or something whacked against the side of the trigger or just shot into the trigger guard somehow weird, or a knuckle or something. At least on a Glock, there's a chance that that little dingus won't get depressed and it'll hit the side of the trigger, you know, on the corner of the trigger, and it won't work. You know, SIG or something like that with no trigger safety, no nothing, you know, it just kind of, it's so funny because if you walked around with a 1911 that was cocked and unlocked, people would say you're freaking nuts, right? Or 1911 with no grip safety and no manual safety, people would say you're freaking nuts. But we walk around with a SIG 365 or whatever with no trigger safety, no manual safety, and a cocked hammer / striker. So what's the difference? Like, I don't understand it. And then just the fact that triggers on carry guns, everybody wants these awesome triggers, so people go to the range and they shoot the gun and do well, you know, and they think, oh, this is awesome, I'm buying this. But they put a 4-pound trigger on a striker fired pistol for somebody to whip out that's totally not accustomed to violence and doesn't know what the hell they're doing, and they whip it out and got to put 4 pounds of pressure. Like, that's one reason I like DASA for carry too. But then also, you know, I carry Glocks and stuff, but I want basically a stock, about 5-pound trigger, I think is solid for carry. Even being someone who shoots all the time and is very, very used to the trigger and how it manipulates and how it works and shooting all together, and even being someone that's accustomed to some violence, been in some violence before in fight or flight situations and stuff, I still want about a 5-pound trigger. Like, my competition Glock has my 17 that I carry all the time. The only thing that's different between competition day and carry is I change my striker spring to like a 1/2 pound lighter. So it goes from a 5, maybe 5.5, I'm not even sure, I don't know, feels like 5 pounds or so, to a 4-pound trigger. So there's nothing, Either an easy to manipulate safety or DASA. Yeah, I like DASA for carry, man. Especially, you think about it. You're holding somebody at gunpoint or something, you're freaked out, or you come around the corner searching or looking for something, or something crazy's going on, and you're hyped up, freaking 180, 190 beats per minute, heart rate, and shit in a brick, and then you come around the corner and someone scares the shit out of you, or a damn dog starts barking at you, scares the shit out of you, get that startle response. A DASA trigger, you got to go pow and pull that thing, a conscious effort kind of to pull it. You slip the old finger on the trigger of a striker fired pistol and come around at 180 beats per minute, and something startles you, that's some bitch going off. So a lot of police shootings. What's this say? Watch police officer involved shooting videos, and have you noticed any general observations the current officers are doing in the past? Are doing that in the past they have not done. Well, yeah, I mean, I'm pretty critical of law enforcement. I try my best, and I've been wrong before about, like, armchair quarterbacking a law enforcement incident, right? So I try really hard to know as much as I can about what happened, and then, because sometimes the film is just rough and we really don't know, and we don't know the circumstances going in, but I try not to really be too critical, but it's hard sometimes. There's a lot of people getting shot that don't need to be shot, and that's the long and short of it. But as far as there's a general observations that they're doing now that they have not done, straight up, I just think they're shooting people more. Or, I don't know the statistics, so I don't want to say that, but it just seems to me that they're quicker to go to the trigger, quicker to go to the real firearms. And what I hate to see, this is the biggest thing I hate to see. SOPs and different standard operating procedures of how they handle situations is one thing, right? Like no knock warrants or stuff like that you hate to see. But that's one thing. That's standard operating procedures that need to be changed in a whole different way. When we talk about just what happens on scene while the scene's unfolding, and a suspect is here or whatever. What I hate to see the most, and what I see a trend in, is there'll be 14 police officers show up on scene, and every single one of them is pointing a firearm at a single individual. Why is there not 6 officers pointing their Glocks or AR-15s at this guy or girl, and the other 8 have beanbag shotguns and less lethal and every other tool? Why don't 8 of those guys or 4 people have less lethals and just throttle them with beanbags and then go pick them up off the street, because they're going to be beat, right? 4 or 5 people unload a couple of beanbags on you from shotguns. That's what I hate to see, is a whole scene evolve where it's gone on now, right? If you pull up on scene and some shit flies, you got your pistol right there with you. You don't have less lethal necessarily right there, like a beanbag shotgun or something like that. But when you see a scene unfold for 10 minutes, 15 minutes, and there's 15 cops there, and all 15 of them are pointing live ammunition firearms at the suspect, it's like, and then that suspect has a knife, and they run at the police officers, or even just make some kind of move, pow 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 pow. That's the thing. That's probably the answer to that question, the general observation that I can come up with right here on the spot, that I would love to see changed. And the big thing that I talk about when I talk with law enforcement officers or teach law enforcement officers, which I won't teach police departments, because I don't like SOPs and different things like that that need to be changed at a department level. Like I can't really get on board with teaching the entire department. I will teach individual law enforcement officers all day, every day, because I believe in putting better ones out there on the street. And if I can help make you a better law enforcement officer in any way, I believe in that. Just saying fuck cops doesn't really help any of us, because cops are gonna be there. We need police. Everybody can say community policing and all these other fucking dream fantasies, but that shit ain't gonna happen, son. So we need police, but that's the biggest general observation I can see. And when I teach police, I want to make them understand that the more hand-to-hand skills they have, the more shooting skills they have, the less likely they're going to have to use them. The less likely they're going to have to go to lethal force if they can just smash someone with some jiu-jitsu and some wrestling, maybe even some striking if they got to. And then if they have to go to lethal force, they're slick enough that potentially they can allow that situation to go on for a little bit longer. And then also what comes with martial arts training is inoculation to violence and inoculation to being a little bit scared. And, you know, Debo starts running his gums to the law enforcement officer and saying he's going to beat the shit out of him. The guy that's never been punched in the face since second grade when Jimmy fuckface smashed him in the bathroom or whatever, like, he's going to be freaking out, and he's going to have his hand on that pistol, and he's going to be ready as soon as old Debo makes a move. He's going to be into him. Okay, the cop that's a purple belt in jiu-jitsu and rolls every Tuesday and Thursday and does some striking and some wrestling training and shooting and stuff, he's going to be like, yeah, you're a big fucker, but we'll see where this goes. I mean, that's the difference. That is truly the difference between cops that are switched on individuals and the rest of them. So moved away from going hands on because yeah, dude, it's all hand to hand is number one, and for me, number one for everybody, not just police. Because the same scenario, Debo on the corner is eyeing you up, whether you're a police officer or not. We have the choice where we can exit these situations. Police do not sometimes. So, it's hand-to-hand is just everything. It's everything. It's a prerequisite to every decision you ever make in a altercation of some sort. So, you know, hand to hand is, I mean, it's just so freaking important. Like, it makes you a better person. It makes you so much more likely to not do something stupid in a violent or potentially violent encounter. And it just teaches you about violence a little bit. It teaches you about being violent when you need to be violent. I got a thing I'm gonna do, if it's something people think they would like, is, I don't know. I mean, I go back and forth on this, whether I should do it or not, but I want to tell the story of the biggest fight I ever had, the fight for my life, where the guy tried to shoot me in the face, and I had to fight the two other guys, or three guys altogether, but I was lucky on one, in an apartment, and how I went through it, what I actually, like, maybe I'll do it on a live thing and just talk my way through it on that. But if people would want to hear about it, but not necessarily why it happened, but just what happened in the moments and what martial arts stuff I was able to employ to get myself out of these situations, and just kind of the thoughts that was going through my head, and understanding, going from defense to understanding that I need to put down some offense, and then trying to stay conscious while being attacked, and all these kind of crazy things that it's just a ton of lessons in it. So if people would want to hear that story, it would take me an hour to adequately tell it, but it is truly a freaking insane story. And it all happened maybe in 2.5 minutes, 3 minutes from the start of like the altercation verbally, and what like precluded like to the end of the fight. It was truly freaking insane. What do you prefer and why about EDC carrying emergency medical on your person versus in a backpack or elsewhere? Funny thing about that, I just talked to a guy, actually talked to Harry's Holsters about it a little bit, but a little idea I've got about carrying a soft T wide tourniquet. Soft T wide tourniquets are my favorite because they're so freaking slim. They fold up and they just got a little buckle, and I mean, it's just a super slim little tourniquet that you can carry in your back pocket or something super easy. But me, I carry a backpack everywhere I go. You know, I'm going in and out of hotels right now and stuff, so I've got my holster, my dry fire set up and stuff around this backpack, and I've got med kit in my bag back here and stuff. So I will say that I am guilty of not carrying a TQ on me or med kit stuff on me, on my physical person. But I carry backpack stuff in the truck here behind my back seat. There's shit like, so I think if you can make it work, it's absolutely probably going to save your ass or someone else's far before you're done. Right? So it's one of those things where you got to weigh it. Now, if I'm going, let's say I'm going to, in my hometown, there's like a downtown mall where it's brick streets and stuff, and there's restaurant and little bars all through it, and they have little events and stuff, and you know, when before Corona, you know, sometimes you go down there, or let's say you're going to a some kind of concert or something like that. Most of the time, if you got a tourniquet, they'll let you in, even though it'll set off an alarm. Sometimes, I know that some of them have plastic parts, but I don't like them. I like the soft tees. Anyway, if I'm going somewhere with lots of people and the chance for something wild to pop off and the loss of life to happen in that scale where I couldn't either get back to my vehicle to help someone or send someone to my vehicle to help me within close proximity, like I'm definitely carrying a couple of medical things. And then if you're going to a concert or something like that, you can't have a pocket knife or gun or anything because they're gonna wand you up. So you've got space, right? You've got the ability to throw some other shit in your pockets in those situations. I'm definitely guilty of not carrying it, but like I said, I hate having a bunch of stuff in my pockets. So I got my little flashlight, my pocket knife, pistola. Sometimes I carry an extra mag with a neo mag if I'm going into a situation where there's many people. I got some pants, some Dickies pants that have a little pocket on the side of them. It's like a hidden little pocket, and a neo mag will stick right down in there and hide. And also a tourniquet will stick right down in there and hide. So it's like perfectly set up kind of khaki pants that work awesome for those applications. And that's something to think about too. Nowadays there's a lot of clothing companies making awesome freaking gear that have little extra pockets that work perfect for some of this shit. So, but I had an idea to set up for a tourniquet setup. I won't kind of give it away here, but something to be able to carry a soft T-wide tourniquet extremely easy. And then I even came up with another idea that's even easier, and it's actually pretty slick. And I'll wait to see what Harry's kind of says on the other thing. If he tells me it wouldn't be worth going after or trying it, because I just hit him up and say, hey, I got this little idea for a Codex thing that does this or that, or a, you know, because he's in the industry, right? And he's smart. So I'll just hit him up and say, hey, you think you can make one of these, or do you think this would be a cool thing? You know, you can have it. It's not like I want to make money off of it, or not like I want to build the damn thing, but just throwing it out there to see. So, but the other thing is like everyone could do it, and it might be pretty cool. So I'll wait, and then I'd make a video and show you guys what I'm talking about later on here. But I mean, what's your opinion on it? Do you carry stuff on your medical, or on your person, medical wise? Like I said, I'm guilty of not doing it for sure. Sometimes, or most of the time, I don't even carry a spare mag, right? I shoot Glocks, knock on wood, the damn mags just work and work and work and work and work. So I've got most of the time I'm just carrying my 17. I've got a holster setup that's so perfect, and like Harry's holster stuff, I mean, everything, it works just so nicely that a 17 is, I can tell no difference between 19 and 17. I even sold my 19X. I still have a G19 Gen 5 MOS frame, which I might buy a Zev slide or something eventually and just kind of stick on it to have another 19. But until I get a 48, I'll probably just keep carrying the 17 because it works so damn well. And then I've got 18 freaking rounds in magazines that never break. I just don't think I'm going to get, I've said this many times before, just like people arguing about red dots failing. I don't think I'm going to get unlucky enough to get in a gunfight. I sure as hell don't think I'm going to get unlucky enough to get in a gunfight and my shit fall apart. And it'd be such a terrible situation that it all falls apart and ends up costing me my life, or I can't fight through it or fix it or freaking go to hands or hit somebody in the head with a hammer. I mean, you know, I just think, like, I don't think I'm that unlucky. I'm not the luckiest sumbitch out there, but you gotta be pretty unlucky for all your shit to fail. So keep your gear in decent order and know how to work it, and you'll probably be all right. Have blowout kits in my vehicles, carry a spare mag. Yeah, a lot of people carry a spare mag. If I'm carrying a G48, the slimmer little mag, you know, I'll probably easily throw one of them on me, you know. And then I'll have to do my research a little bit more when that time comes, when I do buy a 48 here, which I'm, you know, tuned up right now. I really want to buy one. In the last couple weeks, I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna buy one of them. So I was gonna buy a Glock 44, and then I heard Taurus was coming out with a red dot model 22 thing, and so I canceled the 44, and then I'm like, should I buy a 48? So I just said, screw it, I'll just wait, and I'm gonna get a 48 here soon. So I'd probably carry one of them, but I'll have to do the research. What I was talking about or getting to is the shield mags versus just regular old 10 rounders. You know, what should we do there? What should I go for there? I've heard mixed reviews on the shield mags. I definitely have heard way more good reviews than bad for the 15 round shield mags, but man, you got a G48 or a 43X with 15 rounds. That's a bad little unit. And me personally, I like the little bit bigger grip and a little bit more thing to hold on to than the X or the SIG 365 XL. That grip is just a little bit too small for me to get, like, my hand is totally engulfing the grip, and then I got to try to get my support hand in there somewhere, and it just doesn't, like, I'm all up over the slide and stuff. I'm just like, I can't get on board with this. But a 48 or 43X is just enough grip. And then I might even, once I do that, I could even have DC Precision do their little thing to it, where they can fatten your grip on your Glock and add weight to it and stuff for competition. But then they can also do it for like a Glock 48 without really adding it might add a little weight, but they can add a little bit of, extra girth to her. So if you want custom Glock work, those guys are so far ahead of what anybody else is doing. Everybody else is doing stippling and slide cuts. DC Precision out of like freaking Wyoming or something out there, they're able to silicone carbine a Glock grip and add like 6 ounces, 8 ounces to it. So it effectively takes your Glock grip and damn near makes it like a Sig Legion. And you get silicone carbide badass grip. So you add that to some of their trigger work and stuff, and man, I can't wait to get that pistol done for this year's Carry Optics unit. Carry a tourniquet on my person all the time. Full bleed kit on my backpack 99% of the time. Yeah, I'd be close to that if I carried the TQ on me, and if I do the little thing that I'm thinking of, I'm for sure gonna be carrying one with me all the time, because I have a way that's gonna be able to completely freaking hide that thing to where you'll never even know you got it on. But that also involves a certain way that I wear my belt and stuff. So I'll show you guys that eventually. But what time is it? What the hell time is it? I want to get a copyright thing here. What the hell's the time? Won't show up. Okay. 2. Okay. So, yeah, I'll be close to doing that same thing. And like I said, backpack is a good thing to just start carrying. For me, work, stuff like that, I can't carry my pistol all day long, and it just wouldn't even be worth doing. So the backpack thing, and then just having like lighters and weird shit, right? An extra t-shirt, like dumb stuff in your backpack that you would never really think of. A couple bottles of water. This backpack is a shitty Walmart special, and it's got this little mini cooler in the bottom, which is actually awesome. You can put a couple of bottles of water in there, or some food, and hell, I've been using this shitty Walmart special $12 backpack, Ozark Trail, you know what I'm talking about, for like 2 years. And I wanted a shitty one because I want to be able to throw it in the dirt at work and leave it lay there and the sun beating down on it and fading it and it's dirty or whatever. And I've been using this thing for 2 damn years. It gets poured down rain on it. Like, I don't need a good, awesome backpack. So, this freaking thing is held up like a champ. Held up like a champ. Yeah, med kits in your cars, backpack stuff, your fanny pack. Rock a fanny pack. Tell you, if you're going to a concert or something, like I said, your fanny pack is the way to go. I think more and more about getting me a fanny pack. I don't have one, but I'm like, it'd be kind of nice to have all my essentials. But like I said, in the backpack thing, having a couple of Pop-Tarts or something in case you got stranded in a snowstorm or whatever, and a couple bottles of water. Obviously you should have that kind of stuff in your vehicle, but the more the merrier on little things like that are gonna make a bad situation a little more comfortable, so vehicle stuff quickly. Blanket, couple of blankets, stupid shit, like that, I guess. I have a case of Deer Park water in my vehicle. I eat out of it, right? I take out of it every day sometimes, but I also use this. full of water, holds ice all day long. Throw a couple ice cubes in there, fill it up with water. It'll keep cold water all day. Stainless steel, so it's not plastic. You're not getting cancer. But I still have a, because I'll drink that, you know, but that thing goes everywhere with me. A little pocket on the side of the backpack. Again, everything kind of starts to work together. And drink more water is just a tip. Straight up, if you can drink a gallon of water a day, you're gonna be feeling better, healthier. It's good for you. So I try to drink water a lot, but if you got a case of water or like a 6-pack of waters in your vehicle and a little storage of simple foods, you know, high calorie carb foods that in a pinch will get you through. Let's say you had to go 3 days or something, 4 days. Like, obviously, you, as long as you got water, you're gonna be fine. You can live for weeks and weeks without food, but it's gonna suck, right? Day 2, you're gonna be like, this sucks, and you start to get stomach acid build up, stuff like that. I know if I don't eat for a whole day, or I work out, do like fasted cardio or a workout where I didn't eat prior to or close to it, stomach acid will start to build up and you'll feel like death, like you're gonna puke, and then you got to slowly like eat a piece of bread to try to calm that stomach acid. So that's what happens to me if I don't eat for a long time. So having something like that, if you ever get in a pinch, you know, eat a freaking Pop-Tart or a couple granola bars or something stupid like that, it'll hold you over for the entire day, just to put something in your guts. But anyway, all right guys, I appreciate you taking my time up. I was sitting here thinking, what the hell, what am I gonna do for an hour? I don't feel like going to any stores and walking around or taking a nap. So I appreciate you helping me kill the time. Like I said, we'll do some more live streams in the future. Anytime, dude. Anytime you guys, a lot of you guys or a few of you guys email me questions or things, and I like to answer the stuff. I like to get feedback. But any questions, go back to the last video I did and throw it in the comment section. I'll see it on the YouTube app thing. It'll pop right up. So I found out how to respond to questions without going back to the videos. So it's super easy now with the little YouTube thing. Your question will pop right up on the screen. I can hit it and answer it right then and there. Or after a couple of them, I'll go back and answer them later. So anytime you guys got questions or video ideas or just questions that I could potentially make videos about, it makes it so much easier. So, and then live streams like this, I don't want to say I'm going to do live streams on every Friday or some shit like that. And then during the week, like weeknights, I do the dry fire training. So I can't commit to any certain night or any certain time. So the live stream thing actually is easier. I should have been doing it all along, because the more you do them, it seems like the more people get used to you doing them. And then, like, Is Your Six Covered? If you guys don't follow those guys, X-Ring, Is Your Six Covered, Pop's Quest, like, Pops doesn't do many live streams, but anyway, Is Your Six Covered, Rick and X-Ring, they do them like every night, and they got 100 people in there watching. I watch them, even though they're talking about long range shooting. You know, I'm not into that really, but that's something I don't know jack shit about, so I watch it and I learn a lot. X-Ring is a hell of a knowledgeable dude, especially on all that stuff, and then, or just really shooting all over everything, I guess. And then so is Rick, really, you know, on the long range stuff. And I like to kind of watch those things and listen, ask them guys questions, because I don't know really anything about it. I have a Tika X-Tac or whatever the hell it is, T3 X-Tac, TAC 3 X-Tac, what the hell is it called? Anyway, a chassis Tika 6.5 Creedmoor on layaway that, you know, it's a pretty expensive gun, and I've been throwing $100 at it here and there for the last 3 months, so 4 months even, so it's damn near paid off. I need to just go buy it, you know, pay for the rest of it, but I give them $100 a month and kind of don't even really worry about it because I ain't gonna do jack shit with it till summer. Plus, it's probably gonna sit until I can afford to spend another $2 grand on a freaking scope for it. So I'm just slowly kind of doing that, and I got way too much shit going on with pistols and everything else. I don't really need to do that. It's just something I want to slowly start to build up some knowledge on and slowly start to get into. So those guys are good, but they do live streams all the time, and it's a good way to get information out there and shit. Yeah, thanks, man. The live stream stuff is funny because when you ask somebody questions live, you kind of get an understanding if they really know their shit, or, you know, I watch some Instagram lives with instructors and stuff, and I'm like, all right. You know, somebody asks you a question, you give them the same old answer. Kind of the industry standard answer, like, just leveled my LVPO, but looks slightly canted when shouldered. No, that's kind of common, but could the level be out of whack? Effects on 0? Oh yeah. Well, if your level is out of whack, it's going to affect accuracy, especially the further out you go. I mean, I don't know jack shit about long range, but I know 400 yards and in and AR stuff and LVPO stuff. That thing needs to be level, and when you're shooting, you need to try to get it as level as possible. I use a level and kind of play with that a little bit when I'm mounting them up, but I really use eyeball and plumb. You know, I'll break out the plumb bob, and then that kind of makes it easy, because no matter what, if you can get the rifle level and line the crosshairs up with the plumb bob and then get her clamped down without turning it and shit, then you'll be all right. But make sure, just work at it until you get that thing dead level with the rifle. Now, as far as when you shoulder it, as if it being a little canted in the shoulder, that's no big deal until you start shooting out further. So when you lay down prone or get into a supported position, or I guess if you're trying to take a really, you know, 250 yard offhand shot, yeah, it needs to be level. You got to get that thing plumb, get the crosshairs plumb. So it'll definitely matter. So effects on your 0, it's going to matter. Everything will matter if the LVPO is off level to the actual gun itself. Now, if you think about it, the barrel's cylindrical, so as far as that goes, that doesn't matter that much. You know what I mean? So if your scope is canted a little bit this way, your barrel's round, right? The bullet's coming out of a round barrel. So as far as actual 0 goes, I guess it really wouldn't matter. But when you go to get the rifle plumb, shooting out the distance and stuff like that, it does matter. So I would say really make sure, the easy way to do it is just make sure that your scope is level with your upper. Then you know you don't have anything to worry about. When you do start shooting, just make sure your crosshairs are as plumb as you can get them. Having trouble determining which bubble level is accurate. Actually level between my phone and 3 bubbles are all different. That's the trouble with putting one level on one thing and one level on the other. And then also, if you don't have a super precise bubble level with lines that you can really see, okay, the very edge of the bubble is up against this fine line. Most levels aren't really like that. So I have this little set of, they have a little laser built in and a couple like 45 levels, and then they have really precise hash marks. So that's what I use it's machined out of aluminum, the whole little thing is, and it has a perfectly flat thing you can lay on your upper, and then I kind of just vise my upper in, get it super plumb and level, and then go to work from there. But it is a pain in the ass. It can take a while to get, and then if you clamp, so as you start to tighten up the clamps, it'll go and cant the scope. So you got to make sure that you're going little screw, you know, and then jumping over, little screw, jumping over, and crisscrossing, so you draw the clamp perfectly straight down. If you tighten up one side and then tighten up the other, it'll go and it'll actually roll the scope with the clamp. Good goal to level the optic with the upper. That's what I do. I want the optic to be leveled off of the upper. That way I know that everything in the gun is nice and concentric and plumbed up and level together. From there, you can't really do much else. There's not a whole lot else you can do. That give me around the ballpark. Yeah, exactly. Level the level the optic as much as you can, and just get both of them exactly as leveled up as you can. The upper, the flat top, and the scope. So, and what's weird is some mounts, even scope mounts, really good ones, Geisley ones, Midwest, American Defense, Scalar Works, stuff like that, you're not gonna have any issues with. But I've seen some of the cheaper offerings of mounts. The actual mount itself won't be plumb. So if you take the scope caps off and put the level on the mount itself and the rail, they won't be level together. So then you're kind of putting the scope on and you've got a mount that's slightly canted, your upper is off a little bit, and then you put the scope in and you try to get it level, and you're, you know, I just back up and look, right? And I'll have a plumb bob hanging from the ceiling and back up and look, which you can make a plumb bob out of anything. Tie a string around a nut and hang it from the ceiling. That string will go, it'll go straight down. So I just basically eyeball it. I don't even mess with it after a while. Like, I'll get it pretty close to leveling both of them, and then if I know the rifle's nice and level, then all I have to do is plumb the vertical crosshair and everything's good. And then don't get too wrapped up around the axle on a degree one way or the other, because none of that shit matters in practical terms. Once you get into long range and setting up a 34 millimeter freaking 27 magnification scope, and you're going to be sending rounds on out there, and everything really matters, you want to be starting to get a little bit more meticulous about it. But for ARs, just eyeball with a plumb bob and level the upper, right? That'll work. So, all right, guys. Before you guys ask me any other questions, I gotta get off here because I'll just keep bullshitting. It's been 100 minutes, an hour, hour and 40 minutes. So, all right, guys, appreciate it. Take her easy. We'll talk soon. I'll try to put out or do like a real short little video that says, hey, I'm going to be doing a live stream at this time. And then that way people can kind of know when to pop in, right? I would post a little YouTube post, but I don't think people see them. I posted one the other day about something I'm going to put on the channel, and I think 3 people saw it, or 3 people liked it at least. So I don't think people are seeing them. But anyway, guys, take her easy.